All right, so we're live, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so we're live, 1 second, and I'm gonna go. Video unmuted itself. My bad. Anywho, so Dilgaff made a video, and I understand his view on it. If you haven't seen his video, I highly recommend you go and watch it after the fact. It's actually a very good video. I don't really disagree with any of the points that he made in it. Hopefully at some point in the stream he can come in on this, but if he can't, then that's cool. I'll just talk with him again later on another stream. But yeah, no, Dilgaff definitely has a point. I hope he wasn't, referring to me too much in that video, even though, yeah, I definitely have some, I guess, some vindictiveness in me, but I think that's probably why some of you subscribe to me. But anywho, no, anyone who's been on my channel for any amount of time and watching my streams and my streams with Dilgaff, or even my videos, knows that I completely respect Dilgaff, and this is no exception. I definitely respect his opinion on it, and I don't think that he's entirely wrong. There are some issues in the MGTOW quote-unquote community, as far as some MGTOWs either giving off the wrong idea of what MGTOW is actually about, or people getting stuck in that red pill rage. I've talked about this in previous videos as well. But you got some people that will get stuck in that red pill rage, and then I'm going to sit there and point to those few people who are actually just at that point because of that rage, anti-woman, and, women are the ultimate evil and that sort of thing. They point to that and say, see, look, we were right. So MGTOW has this kind of dual strand going on right now. You got the MGTOWs that have gotten past the red pill rage and that sort of thing, and have more moved on to the kind of that indifference. And then inside of that, it splits off into multiple groups. Like you got the nihilistic group, you got the hopeful group, you got the group that just wants guys out there to know about the issues that are going on in society and as far as law and that sort of thing. Those are the ones that tend to get more lumped in with MRAs and that sort of thing. I've had people call me an MRA before. I'm not necessarily an MRA. I just point to the bullshit. Whereas MRAs are out there, trying to get changed and so on and so forth, but they just don't have the backing. But then you've also got, some guys that think that MGTOW is about woman hating. That's not it. It's recognizing female nature, but it's also about recognizing male nature. Again, this is something I've covered in other videos, but I guess this is going to be more of a comprehensive aspect on this. MGTOW, to a lot of us, isn't about women hating. Now, there are going to be those Fruit Loops out in the fucking back row that are, of course, going to be doing that. But, and of course, there's some prominent voices that are a little bit on that level. But the thing is then you've got, MGTOWs like me, like, yeah, I'll sit there, I'll poke fun, or I'll throw out something that's inflammatory, or, use bad language, whatever, whatnot. But the thing is I've tried to make a point of it that I don't hate women. And that MGTOWs really shouldn't hate women. Just try to understand the kind of legal threat that kind of comes along with the relationships. Now, the thing is those threats won't always come to fruition. There's always going to be those times where it works out and that sort of thing. But the thing is that threat is still there. It's kind of like whenever you go, cliff climbing. If you go ahead and you climb up that cliff, does it mean you're going to fall off that cliff every single time? No. In fact, maybe even the majority of the time you won't fall off the cliff. At that point, the analogy breaks down because you got a pretty good chance. At this point, it's more like flipping a coin. But the thing is there's always that threat of danger there. There's always the possibility of it going poorly. That's what I try to bring around to people. That's what I try to talk about. Because the thing is I'm not saying, oh, this will happen. Very rarely will you hear me say this. But the thing is when you try to say that something is an absolute, you're going to have an issue, because there are no absolutes. There's always going to be the outlier, and people are always going to be able to point to that. It's not exactly a good thing. Now, on the other side of that coin, you can't sit there and say that something will never happen, because, again, everything is possible. Like, you could sit there and think you're in the best relationship in the world. You've never had a relationship like this before, and she actually treats you right and that sort of thing. And then 2 days later, all of a sudden, you've got a false rape allegation and she's out sucking some other guy's dick. That is a possibility that can happen. Is it likely? Some will say yes, some will say no. Me, I'm one of those ones, I'm all like, it's a possibility. That's all I'm willing to say. But the thing is when you actually look at statistics and all that, it's not one of those, 1% of 1% situations. So it's one of those things that you need to be wary about. You need to know what you're signing up for with marriage. You need to know what you're signing up for when you have sex. You need to know all of these different things. And I don't think education is exactly a bad thing. Indoctrination is a bad thing. I've always spoken out against indoctrination. That's the reason why I have an issue with a lot of fucking colleges. A lot of their fucking degrees require that you take these indoctrination courses. Indoctrination's never good. Reason why? Because at that point, now you are going to actually you're going to close off your mind to alternate ideas. You're going to close off your mind to these discussions, and that's not ever a good thing. Now, if you know that someone is going to be lying to you, yeah, take what they're saying with a grain of salt. Or if someone's been proven to be a liar, or in some, as some would describe as a snake, then yeah, make absolutely certain that you take the proper precautions. Doesn't mean try to deplatform them. It doesn't mean try to keep them from speaking. It doesn't mean anything like that. What it means is just keep that in mind. And while they're sitting there and saying this, don't be afraid to bring up those past scenarios. Because if you've ever, made a mistake or lied or anything like that in the past, you better be sure they're going to be bringing that shit up. And the thing is understanding the trustworthiness of someone goes a long way. Now, I kind of touched on this in my last stream, but with Dilgaf's video, I want to go ahead and touch on this again. If you're going to be sitting there and telling inconvenient truths, do not hold back on telling inconvenient truths on both sides. Or however many sides there are in whatever conflict you're getting involved in. Because the thing is if you're sitting there and telling inconvenient truths, more than likely you are getting yourself involved with conflict. Like right now, there's basically kind of this socio-economic political war going on in Western countries. You know, you've got segregation running rampant, and the problem with that is shit like MGTOW, it's at a high risk of becoming part of that segregation culture. I've seen this actually happen. You know, you've got some people that'll sit there and say, oh, well, you're not a real MGTOW because you don't believe this, or this. No, that's not what MGTOW is about. MGTOW is not about capitulating. It is not about following the herd. It is about taking your own path. Like me, I've chosen the path that I'm going down. It's my choice. I'm a man and I'm going my own way. That doesn't mean that if someone goes a different way from me, that they're not a real MGTOW. It's just they're a MGTOW going down a different path. So I wanted to go ahead and clarify that. I thought I was clear on it before. I'm pretty sure Dilligaff wasn't talking about me on this because me and him kind of have always kind of seen eye to eye on that. Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit more staunch. He talks more about the psychological aspect of it, whereas me, I touch a little bit on the psychological aspect, but I'm more about the legal and social aspect. Me and him definitely cross over on the social aspect. We both focus on that, but I tend to be more towards the legal side. He tends to be more towards the psychological side, which isn't a problem. Because the thing is that's one of the reasons why I love streaming with him. Because the thing is he brings an alternative view, and I bring an alternative view, and so you're getting information from multiple people. We haven't been able to line up our schedules recently. That's my fault. I take full responsibility for that because my schedule's been all sorts of fucked up. So yeah, actually, I'm hoping to go ahead and get together with Dilligaff soon and us go ahead and do a stream again. I miss doing streams with him. It's always fun. But as you can tell from the times of my streams lately, my schedule's been a little bit hectic and a little bit different from normal. Doesn't exactly conform with his sleep schedule because Dilligaff needs sleep. And I need sleep. So unfortunately, with the time constraints, we just haven't been able to line up lately. But no, me and Dilligaff aren't having a fight, not that I know of. I mean, if we are, then it's news to me. But no, he actually brings up some very good points where some of MGTOW is actually becoming very dogmatic and becoming. Now, this isn't his words. This is me, but this is basically me just kind of summarizing in probably a incorrect way, and Dilligaff will come on and correct me if I'm wrong on this. But you know, there are some MGTOWs that are becoming very dogmatic that are becoming just as bad as feminists. They're hating people for what they are, and they're trying to make it to where these people shouldn't be listened to because they weren't born right or they have the wrong beliefs. That's not what MGTOW should ever be about. You should never be trying to silence someone as MGTOW. If you believe that someone is wrong, bring up facts, make your arguments against them. That's the best way you can do things. Trying to insult someone or threaten someone is never the way to go. Ever. I mean, I understand that, if you're in red pill rage, you might not be thinking clearly. You're just kind of fucking lashing out because you've seen a really ugly fucking sight, and you're kind of fucking going a little bit loopy. I get that. Anyone who's had the red pill rage should understand that, as long as they remember what it was like going through the red pill rage. But the danger is with MGTOW, there's kind of this echo chamber that's forming, that has been forming for a while. And unfortunately, a lot of MGTOWs are kind of getting stuck in that rut, and it's keeping them from moving forward. By all means, keep telling the truth, keep talking about female nature, but also talk about male nature, talk about what can be done, offer solutions. Don't just sit there and say, oh, here's a fucking problem, here's a fucking problem, here's a fucking problem, just perpetually bitch. Like with me, I even made a video saying how to get rid of MGTOW, which, it was a very basic video. It was more off the cuff. It wasn't one of those super serious videos, but also at the same time, it was one of those things. It's all like, yeah, this would pretty effectively get rid of MGTOW. But I made it because of the fact that I knew that it wouldn't happen. So that was me kind of having my little red pill rage moment thing. And even though I brought up a lot of valid solutions, the thing is they're kind of unrealistic. So unfortunately, at that point, I'm still guilty of that. Even with that video, even though I did bring up valid solutions, they're not viable solutions, if that makes any sense to anyone. Now, some of them are viable, but some of them weren't. It's all like, eh. And I'm not afraid to come out and say it. I mean, that was more of a kind of a little twist the knife type of thing. That was a little bit of my vindictiveness seeping through to the surface. But also at the same time, it's all like just me making that. Like, there were people that were responding to the title of the video. And that was kind of an issue. They were sitting there and they're like, why are you going against people that have your best interest in mind, blah, 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 blah. And it's all like, well, watch the fucking video before you fucking decide to go off. I mean, at least listen to the person, hear the person out. And if you disagree with the person, respectfully disagree, or don't comment, or, leave a thumbs down, whatever. Don't sit there and try to shame someone into agreeing with you, because I mean, that honestly, that never truly works. They might sit there and on the surface start saying what you want them to say, but deep down, you haven't convinced them. Like, let's just be honest. Shaming tactics don't really work. Not unless you allow them to work on you. And a lot of the people that are making videos and content similar to mine, they don't give a fuck what you say. They're putting out the content because of the pure and simple fact. The pure and simple fact that they want to put out that content. They want to get their thoughts, their ideas out there. So, not really one of those situations where you're going to go ahead and convince anyone. At that point, all you're going to be doing is creating an enemy. And that's not what we want to do. I mean, some of us want to do it. Don't get me wrong. There's some people that just want to watch the world burn. But at the same time, not everyone wants to make an enemy. Some people actually want to use tact. And if you want to know what I mean by tact, go ahead and look up what Isaac Newton said about tact. Go ahead. It's one of his quotes. Go ahead and look it up. But the thing is basically the gist of it is, tact is the habit of making a point without making enemies. Now, when you're sitting there and you're telling inconvenient truths, yes, you're going to make enemies. That's true. You're going to have your haters. You're going to have the trolls coming out of the woodwork. You're going to have all this. The thing is, you need to sift through for the actual conversations that are being had in that as a response to it. You need to look for those conversations, because the thing is the only way to convince someone is through conversation. You can sit there and you can throw all the facts at them. You can fact vomit all over them. Fact version of rainbow showers. But the thing is that's not going to convince a lot of people, because either they're going to think that you're just throwing out all this stuff, trying to overwhelm them with information so that they can't think straight, or they're going to think that because you're just throwing out fact after fact after fact after fact after fact without any context or any discussion going on about those facts, they're going to think that you're spewing out information that is purposely misleading. At that point, it becomes the same type of thing as, feminists and social justice warriors sitting there and automatically going to their fallback of, you're a racist, you're a misogynist, you're a sexist, you're blah, 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 blah. All right? It becomes the same fucking thing. So that's the reason why I don't sit there and just spew fact after fact after fact. I'll say a fact or state a fact or, talk about a source or something like that, and then have a discussion about it for a while. Whether it be a rambling discussion or a comprehensive and coherent discussion. Depends on if I'm alone or if I'm with someone else who I'm hanging out with, blah, 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 blah. Whatever's going to make the most impact. And saying the same thing over and over and over again, now you're becoming rhetorical. It doesn't matter if it's true or not at that point. But if you're just saying the same things over and over and over again, then people think you don't actually have an argument, that you're just parroting shit, that you're not actually thinking for yourself, and they're not going to tend to listen to you. Now, if the other person continuously brings up their rhetoric, and you continuously bring up your rhetoric, then anyone caught in the middle is going to be all like, both these motherfuckers are insane. So at that point, you're not helping yourself. However, if you sit there and you see someone just bringing up that constant rhetoric, yeah, bring out the facts, but then go ahead and have a conversation. They're going to keep, spouting off their rhetoric. You only have to combat it once in a conversation. After that, it becomes pointless. Now, with me and my personality type, I'm not too compatible with that. My personality type actually is not really conducive to making a lot of the content that I make, because I try to give you an insight into how my brain works. And that's why sometimes it seems like I go off on rants and then roundabout back in. What I'm doing is I'm retracing the steps of how I got there. And the thing is it's attached to a whole bunch of different shit that leads up to one thought. But that's just how my brain works. Or depending on who you're talking to, how my brain is dysfunctional. Some people don't get it. Some people do. People of the same learning style and the same personality type as me, yeah, of course, they're going to get it because their brains work along the same lines. But people who don't, people who are of another personality type or of another learning type, they're going to be sitting there going, huh? That's the reason why I'll sometimes retread some information and put it into a different context or a different way of saying things, is so that way I can reach more people. So that way more people can kind of have that, aha, I get where he's coming from moment. Now, I've covered in a few of my videos how, confirmation bias is an issue. Well, it's the same thing with any discussion. People are going to have confirmation bias. One of the things you'll hear continuously when you're telling an inconvenient truth is people will go, well, that's not my experience. Well, that's not my experience. Well, I've never seen that. Well, I've never had that happen to me. The thing is, are they lying? Probably not, possibly not. But also at the same time, they're talking about one little thing versus the world. So how about this? It's like making the same argument of, well, this ant right here has never invaded into someone's house and stolen their food. Therefore, no ant has ever invaded a house and stolen food. No one is going to believe that statement, and they're going to tell you that your logic is flawed. Well, the thing is the same thing happens with confirmation bias. So you got to be really careful not to fall into that trap, because the thing is anyone who uses confirmation bias and tries to use that as proof, well, then at that point, they kind of get laughed off the stage, because it's all like, just because you haven't had this particular thing happen to you, that doesn't mean that it hasn't happened to anyone else, or it hasn't even, like, it could have happened to everyone else, and you might be that one motherfucker that it hasn't happened to. And that's the reason why I'll sit there and I'll say it. You know, in the grand scheme of things, you as an individual really, you know, you're kind of insignificant in the grand scheme of things. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm not saying that to dishearten you or to discourage you or to insult you. It's just true. The thing is with the vast majority of us, if we were to die this very moment, like if individually, like if I was to die this very moment, in the grand scheme of things, the world would not even notice. The world would go on just like normal. And that is the same with the vast majority of every person on this planet. Doesn't matter your skin color, doesn't matter your sexual orientation, doesn't matter what your gender is, doesn't matter what political beliefs you have, doesn't matter what social beliefs you have, doesn't matter what friends you have. It really doesn't fucking matter. The world will continue moving on without you. Now, there are some people where some note is taken, but those are the exception to the rule. But have you noticed that it tends to be groups of people getting taken out that tend to be noticed? And at that point, it's the group that's being noticed, not each individual of the group. So, you know, like I said, not saying it to be mean, not saying it to dishearten people, but also at the same time, I'm just trying to put it out there. Your anecdotal evidence does not really hold up in the grand scheme of things. Now, you know, sharing your experience isn't a bad thing. No. That's not a bad thing ever. Because the thing is without people sharing their experiences, no one's going to know. No one's going to be able to get to know you if you don't share your experiences, if you don't speak up. But also at the same time, your life is not the same as everyone else's life. Your situation is not the same as everyone else's. So that's one of the things that I love about the idea of MGTOW is everyone is going down their own path. Sometimes those paths will cross. Sometimes those paths will run parallel to each other for a while, and then maybe branch off and go in other directions. That isn't a problem. But when you try to force someone off of their path and onto your path, that's when it becomes an issue. And we're starting to see that in the MGTOW community. We're starting to see, I mean, it's not that we're just starting to see it. It's actually been there for a little while. Like when they came out with the levels of MGTOW. That right there was a bad sign. Because at that point, you're creating your own caste system. Now, you've had several prominent MGTOW voices trying to say that, yes, this is a thing, but it's because of the alpha thing. No, it's not. No. It's because of a group mentality, a pack mentality. It's not necessarily that they're following you. It's that they feel like they will be shunned if they don't follow you. At that point, you are no better than a feminist or an SJW who threatens someone's livelihood. When you try to force your viewpoint on someone else. Now, you can sit there and say, here is my viewpoint. I just want you to see it from my point of view for a while and take that into consideration. That is different from saying, well, here's my point of view, and this is the right point of view. Your point of view is stupid, so shut the fuck up. See, there's a big difference there. But the thing is, if you're asking someone to see something from your point of view, you have to try to see it from theirs. I tried to do that. And I've known a lot of MGTOWs that try to do that as well. There's a lot of MGTOWs that I know that will sit there and say, yeah, no, women have their own issues. And it's bullshit that feminism says that every issue is because of men. And this mystical, omnipresent entity called the patriarchy, this force that is just somehow suppressing women just by the very existence of men. That I disagree with. Because the thing is from my perspective, a lot of the problems that women are bitching about nowadays are either frivolous, you know, just trying to find something to bitch about. And there are some things that men do that with too. But the thing is women will go ahead and bitch about some of the most frivolous of shit. And then when a man bitches about something that's a little bit more serious, you know, something that is actually affecting their life in a major way and isn't just slightly inconveniencing them, women tend to have the mentality of, well, my problem's more important. I brought it up first, so get in line, motherfucker. They tend to not have the best view of triage at that point. See, what needs to happen, like, here's a solution that I'll offer. Like Dilligaff said, you know, it's pointless bitching about something if you're not going to offer a solution. How about this? When we actually take a look at a problem, take a look at how badly it's impacting someone's life. You know, how prominent is it? How detrimental is it? Is it actively keeping them from moving forward? Because if so, then it needs to be addressed. If it's not, then it can wait until the more important shit is addressed. But again, this is rife for confirmation bias. So how do you get past that? Well, that's from people sharing their experiences. Like there's a lot, and this is meaning that you have to not deny someone else's experiences. Obviously, if something doesn't sound right, you know, question it. Don't listen and believe. But also at the same time, you know, don't sit there and say, oh, well, you're a woman, therefore you're lying. Or, oh, you're a man, therefore you're lying. You know, something like that. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not okay. Not all women lie all the time. All right? Not all men lie all the time. Not all women tell the truth all the time. And not all men tell the truth all the time. Let's go ahead and get that through everyone's thick skulls. No one is perfect. But also at the same time, people have their own issues. And to them, those issues seem exceedingly important. But that's because that's pretty much at the center of their bubble. Now, when I'm talking about issues within MGTOW, I mean, the thing is it seems like MGTOW is kind of losing its way. Just as a whole, like the idea of MGTOW is kind of getting clouded. And I think that Dilgaff does have a very good point, and I understand why he's thinking about dropping the label of MGTOW. For the same reason that people are dropping the label of feminism. For the same reason why there are people that are dropping the label of, being, left leaning or something like that. It's the same fucking reason. It's because you have these people that are just trying to bring all of this hatred in and just constantly venting this hatred, constantly attacking people for the dumbest or even no reason. Now, am I saying that I'm not guilty of that throughout making my videos? No, I'm not saying that. I've done that. I'm just as guilty of it as anyone else. But also at the same time, when I'm called out on it, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, nah, I was being a douche. That's part of what being an adult is being able to admit your faults. Being able to admit when you're wrong. Or when something that you did was a little bit fucked up. Right? No one expects you to be perfect. No one expects you to always be polite. No one expects you to always be calm. No one expects you to always be stoic. But what is expected is that you be mature. And that is a big ask of a lot of people nowadays. A lot of people have a real problem with that aspect of maturity. And like Dilgaff said, it's not just feminism. It's not just social justice. This is something that's kind of swept through every society. But I mean, also at the same time, I can understand the reasoning why it has. Because the thing is, I mean, figure it this way. We've had all of these technological advancements. We've had all this modernization. We've had all of this. We're spoiled compared to throughout history. At this point, the human race is the most prosperous that it's ever been. As a whole. And so we're now not in that situation where we're having to go out and hunt and gather to live. You can go down to the fucking supermarket and buy some food. The hardest part about it is finding a fucking job. Jobs have been getting less and less demanding, other than like building jobs and maintenance jobs. But even those are getting a little bit easier because of modernization. Because of advances in science and advances in technology. I mean, hell, figure it this way, guys. We just had a huge combination of things happening in technology that is going to make it easier and cheaper, ultimately, for you to get laid on a regular basis. Yes, I am talking about sex bots because I want to mention something positive here, because this has been a whole lot of downer shit. But we've had that happen. Well, the thing is when that was made easier for us, that made women's lives a lot more difficult. So of course they're going to screech about it. Just like men constantly screech about factory jobs getting replaced by machines, by automation. It's a valid screech. Or losing jobs. I mean, I feel bad for the person who sat there, worked for a company for 7 or 8 years, working this backbreaking, heavy labor job, and their job got replaced by a machine. That sucks. Because you got really good at that job, you specialized into that job. More than likely, you weren't going to school for a different job while doing that. Those jobs tend to not have the best hours for schooling. So then when that gets replaced, well, then you're kind of out on your ass, aren't you? So like I said, it's a valid complaint. But the thing is do you blame the company? Do you blame the scientists who made the machine? Do you blame the engineers? Do you blame the government? I mean, honestly, at that point, when it really boils down to it, it was you weren't keeping your options open there. I mean, when it really boils down to the point, and I've had this happen to me before, where I've ended up losing a job and I'm all like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? What the fuck? I didn't do anything wrong here. Why am I the one being punished? Well, thing is some of that blame is on me. Because I wasn't keeping my options open. I didn't keep an ear out for a better job. When I, in all honesty, knew that that job was definitely going to be a temporary thing. So some of that blame rests on me. I mean, yeah, there's some times where stuff just kind of comes out of the blue, where you just have no idea that it's coming. That's one of those bullshit happens moments. But the thing is when you're going ahead and trying to figure out what's going wrong, you have to look at everything, including yourself. And that last part is where people have the hardest time following through. Because it's really hard to take an objective look at yourself. I speak from experience. It's very difficult for me to look objectively at myself. But I do my damnedest to do it. And whenever I'm wrong, someone is more than willing to tell me that I am wrong. And while it may be irritating at times, may hurt your fifis, it is necessary. Because if you're not being honest with yourself, then you're denying yourself some very important information about your life. At least I consider knowledge about myself pretty important about my life. I think that's something that's kind of needed to make good decisions. Just saying. But the thing is when people try to tell you what you are in its entirety, when they try to slap that label on you or tell you what your path is, that's when they venture into the realms of being wrong. The only person that can decide their own path is you. You decide your path. They decide their path. If their path goes away from you, then it was going to go away from you. If your paths run parallel for a while, they're going to run parallel for a while. Enjoy the company. But never try to force someone from their path onto your path. Because what is right for you is not necessarily right for someone else. Like I have friends who are vegan. They tried to sit there and guilt me into becoming a vegan. They tried to sit there and shame me into becoming a vegan. What was my response? I went full-fledged 100% meat for a while. No greens. My response anytime that there was anything that was plant-based on my food, my response was, what am I, a goddamn rabbit? Just to piss off my vegan friends. Just to prove a point. And that's the response you're going to get anytime you try to force someone on your path. And that's where I think the real failing inside of a lot of these different MGTOW communities. I mean, there's tons of them. You know, but the thing is it's all been segregated, which is fine in and of itself. You know, people who like certain things are going to tend to group together. I've covered this in a previous stream before. But the thing is just because all of you agree on that one thing doesn't mean that everyone else in the world is wrong. Just means they have a different perspective. Does that sound fair to anyone here? I should hope so. I mean, if you're watching my channel, I hope that at least you agree with me on that one. That people can be free to disagree. I think that's the one thing that everyone should agree on. Is that everyone is free to disagree with anyone else. Other than that, everything's fair game. Feel free to disagree with everything else I say. But don't try to take away someone else's agency. Don't try to take away someone else's path. Don't try to cloud that path. Don't try to impede that path. Don't try to make them fail to try to prove yourself right. Because at that point, all you're doing is proving that you're a pathetic pile of shit. Sorry to bring that fucking harsh truth to you. But the thing is you are. If you do that shit to people, then you are no better than a social justice warrior. You are no better than a regressive. You are no better than a feminist. You are no better than some con man out on the street. And I know that seems harsh. I know that seems a little bit too in people's face. But the thing is that's the only way to get people to listen to it anymore. Because they don't understand it anymore. They don't see what they're doing. A lot of people do this shit without even knowing it. Now, to a degree, I understand it because no one wants to admit that, oh, well, you know, maybe something that I like isn't the greatest thing since sliced bread. Fair enough. But when you're telling someone that the stuff that they like is absolute fucking shit because it's not something that you like, if you're trying to sit there and say that their pastime or their hobby or something like that isn't valid because it's not something that you particularly like or that you partake in personally or that you find entertaining, whatever, whatnot, then why the fuck are you even concerned about it? It's not affecting you. Now, I understand, like, if someone's, you know, hobby is, you know, plucking random people's eyeballs out while walking down the street, you might want to say something. But if they're not harming anyone else, for example, they're going after video games now. Video games and video gamers. This is something that I hold personally dear because I am a video gamer. I enjoy playing video games. That is my escape. Yes, it is an escape. They do have that right. It's an escape from the shittiness of reality for a little while. But at least me escaping from reality into a video game isn't harming anyone. There are groups out there that want to escape from reality by trying to get everyone to fucking lie. Now that is harming people because that's spreading false information. Because if someone doesn't know that it is a fucking lie, they'll believe that it's the actual truth. And then when reality doesn't line up to it, all of a sudden, that's going to cause some mental issues. it's gonna cause some cognitive dissonance that they're not gonna be able to reconcile in any way, shape, or form. And so then all of a sudden trust issues start to loom. I think we got enough trust issues in the world as it is. Don't you? Now, I'm not saying that you can't sit down and read a book to escape from the monotony of your day-to-day grind. By all means, you do you. But the thing is don't bitch about what someone else does. If you're a person that likes to sit down and watch movies, then go ahead, sit down and watch movies. If you're a person that likes to play video games, sit down and play video games. Or stand up and play video games. Or if you're one of the 5 people playing Pokemon Go, go ahead and go out and walk around for a bit and look like an idiot. Whatever. All joking aside, honestly, I really like what Pokemon Go is doing, just on a side note. I think that they're starting to go in the right direction. About maybe 200 more good choices, and I might go ahead and re-download the game. But anywho, when you're trying to convince someone, you have to get them to actually change their mind. You cannot force that. Because most people, when you try to force your will upon them, well, it's just kind of human nature to resist that. It's actually one of our best qualities. But even if you succeed in forcing your will upon someone else, other people looking around aren't going to be looking at you and going, oh, look at how persuasive that person is, when they see you brute forcing it. Perfect example of that is what happened with CNN. They sat there and blackmailed that guy, and what happened? Boom. The world at large blew up in their face. Why was that? Because no one likes to see someone else forcibly imposing their bullshit onto someone else. It comes back to the underdog mentality, where people tend to root for the underdog. Well, the thing is in that case, CNN definitely wasn't the underdog. CNN had all the money, had all of the, had all of the platform, had all of this shit. This was just some random jack off on the internet that they decided to go after because they didn't like what he fucking posted. And because Donald Trump liked it. So, of course, they have to destroy the source, right? Does that sound familiar? Yet you didn't hear them bitching about memes that sit there and advocate for violence against Republicans or against Donald Trump himself or against whites or against this group or that group or this group or that group. They only went after the guy who they thought was advocating violence against them, which is their excuse. They didn't actually think it was advocating violence. They were just going ahead and trying to weave the victim narrative. But of course, people saw that. They saw that the underdog was forced to roll over because his life was being put in danger at that point. And not just his, but all the people surrounding him. People don't take kindly to that. There was a time that, MGTOW would have fucking been all over that shit. Been all like, what the fuck? Yeah, I didn't really hear about any MGTOW channels bringing that up. Because a lot of MGTOW, it's not just about fucking feminism. It's not just about women. It's about problems with society that affect men. Well, this was a man. He was affected by this. This was an injustice that was not legally pursued when it should have been. Yeah, I haven't heard any MGTOW channels really picking up on this. They're too busy bitching about other shit. They're busy bitching about how women are talking bad about MGTOW. They're busy bitching about how women are this, women are that, women are doing this, women are doing that. How about this? If they're not doing something that's directly affecting men at this point, like if there isn't something new, maybe cover something other than women. Just saying. Like me, I cover a wide variety of things on my channel. I cover different politics. I cover, video gaming. I cover, different news bits and reels and so on and so forth. I cover all that shit on my channel. Why do I cover that on my channel? Because I can't sit there and constantly bitch about feminism and bitch about the same thing over and over and over again without sounding rhetorical. I don't want to sound rhetorical. Will I go back and touch on old subjects? Of course I can. But the thing is I don't want to sit there and make the same argument stream after stream after stream after stream. I call myself a MGTOW not because I want to be part of the herd. I call myself a MGTOW because I am going my own way. And if MGTOW suddenly shifts to meaning that I have to follow the group, well then I will too drop the label right along with Dilligath. I have no problems with dropping a label. I look at labels as a warning sign, not a defining factor. Me being a MGTOW does not define me. I define me. My actions define me. My words define me. My ideas. My views. My beliefs. Those are what define me. And those should be what define you, because those are unique to you. There are thousands of men out there that call themselves MGTOW. But there's only one you. There's only one person with your exact thoughts, with your exact ideas, with your exact principles, with your exact views, with your exact experiences. So be you. Don't strictly define yourself with a label. Ever. Don't let others strictly define you with a label. If the label stops describing you, describing what you're about, if it stops being accurate, then drop it. If it no longer reflects your beliefs in at least a general way, then drop it. That's the reason why you don't see a label in my channel's name. Will I put MGTOW as a label on some of my content? Yes, because it has to do with that content. But MGTOW actually has really nothing to do with me. It just so happens to be a good warning label that I am using right now. Case in point, what if they were to sit there and make the skull and crossbones a symbol for sweet candy? Would you keep a skull and crossbones label on a bottle of bleach or window cleaner with your kids around after that change has been made? No, you wouldn't. You would replace that in an instant. So why wouldn't you do that for yourself? So yes, I agree with Dilligath that yes, MGTOW has become a little bit on the echo chamber side. Seeing a lot of those starting to pop up. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean I disagree with all MGTOWs or anything like that. But there are some that are really starting to cause a lot of issues. I've stopped going to MGTOW websites because I noticed that it was just more and more hate, more and more bitter people, more and more people just wanting to unfairly mass label people. That's not what I'm about. So for now, yes, I will continue to call myself a MGTOW because I still hold out hope for MGTOW. But like Dilligath said, MGTOW needs to straighten its shit out, and it needs to do it in its own way. It needs to weed out these hateful motherfuckers. It needs to start calling these motherfuckers out. It needs to start correcting them on what being MGTOW truly is. Because there's a lot of people that are believing the bullshit, and they're thinking that MGTOW is about hating women. And so they come in, they say they're MGTOW when all they are is women haters. And they have nothing else in common with MGTOW. They have none of the knowledge that comes with MGTOW. They have none of the enlightenment that comes with being MGTOW. All they do is hurt others who call themselves MGTOW. And that's a big problem. Now, if you want to come in, like if you're in a red pill rage, yeah, all right, a lot of people will understand it. It's a pretty well understood phenomenon. It truly is. But don't sit there and say that there aren't problems in MGTOW. There's problems in any and all social groups, mindsets, beliefs, ideas. There's always going to be a problem. Now, I know I'm probably going to lose some subscribers from this. Sorry to see you all go, but I've got to be honest. And like I said, you have to call out the bullshit. And I'm calling out the bullshit. I have to agree with Dilligath. He brought up a lot of good points and points that can't really be refuted. But at the same time, I'm not sitting there and saying that MGTOW is a lost cause because it's not. I'm just saying we got some house cleaning to do. We need to start calling out these people when they're sitting there and just spewing nothing but fucking hatred. Because honestly, who wants to be associated with a group that does nothing but hate? Come on. No one really wants to be associated with a group like that unless they're a complete and total psychopath. Now, I know that some, if not a lot of my subscribers are trolls, but that doesn't mean that my subscribers are psychopaths. I'm pretty sure none of you want to just hate to hate. And I'm sure that none of you want to just hate forever. Hell, even I don't want to hate forever. And like I said, I thrive off of some negativity. It energizes me. It motivates me. But I don't want to be part of a group that hates someone for what they are. Now, the thing is not everyone in that group has to do that. All it is just the majority. Who are the ones that I'm seeing the most? Are the most prominent voices in these groups spewing out hatred? Because if so, then maybe it's time to drop the label. But I've seen a lot of MGTOW channels where they're smaller MGTOW channels that are very similar to mine, which don't sit there and say, oh, women are the absolute evil of the world. But also at the same time, they'll sit there and say, women aren't exactly paragons of virtue either. And to me, that's the real test of the metal. Because if you're not able to fairly assess a situation, then really you're not utilizing all of the information available to you. You need to take a look at different perspectives. But also at the same time, when someone's got something wrong, don't be afraid to call them out on it. Just like they shouldn't have to be afraid of calling you out on something. Honestly, I hope because of this stream, I'm not going to lose all my fucking subscribers, because I know that a lot of people have come in here, and gotten used to, raging Ryu. But the thing is at the same time, my rage is always very specific. It tends to go more towards actions than towards individuals most of the time. Now, if an individual has a history of repeating these same actions over and over and over again, then yeah, I get pissed off at the individual. But there's very few individuals that I ever go after. I tend to go after ideas. I tend to go after false information. I tend to go after people who are making claims that are completely and totally unfounded. And even then, I'm not going after the person. I'm going after their argument and shooting it out of the sky. Instead of it being more like a World War II dogfight, it's actually more like me sitting there and using a BB gun to shoot someone's model plane out of the air. No one's really getting hurt from it, but it still stings. And it teaches a lesson. Don't fly your model airplane over my yard if you want it to stay airborne. Either that or you need to armor plate the shit. But yeah, I'm not going to ever sit there and claim that MGTOW is completely perfect with its communities. Never going to claim that. Why? Because we're human. Humans are flawed. Humans make mistakes. Humans say some stupid shit at times. But the thing is at this point, hey, how's it going, Nia? At this point, I'm honestly having to agree with Dilgaff that, yeah, there are some people that claim to be MGTOW that just, I don't think they quite get it. I don't think they quite get that the media narrative of MGTOW being just nothing but women haters isn't exactly true. I don't think that they get that. Now, I know that sometimes, you know, people will sit there and take trolls seriously, you know, like if a troll sits there and, you know, hears someone saying that MGTOW are nothing but women haters, they'll sit there and reply, well, I'm MGTOW and I say fuck women. You know, like they'll sit there and take that seriously. Seems to be kind of par for the course nowadays, in all honesty. But there are some people that legitimately say this, and that's where you get a real problem up and running. Because if you got people that are constantly saying, you know, fuck this group, fuck that group, people are going to start honestly believing that, you know, this group is kind of based around hatred of these other groups. Fair enough. I mean, hell, a lot of the people that subscribe to my channel, yeah, we look at feminism and we're all like, yeah, a lot of those are going to be women haters. I mean, they're going to be men haters. Sorry. Some of us also look at feminism and go, yeah, y'all hate women just as much as you hate men. But let's see. What did Neo say? MGTOW is about having a place of safety. Everyone wants security, normal and deviant people. Okay, you might want to retype that one, Neo, so I can fully understand it. But yeah, like in all honesty, anyone who watches this, who's been a MGTOW, if you're in red pill rage right now, don't just constantly say fuck women, all women are bad, blah 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 blah. Don't do that. Sit there, bring up, you know, the dangers of being in a relationship with a woman, how laws are unfair, so on and so forth. Bring up the truth. But don't sit there and just fact vomit. You know, don't do that. Because you're not going to really convince many people at that point. You're going to come off as a pretentious prick, and then people are going to stop listening to you. Kind of hard for me to come off as a pretentious prick because I cuss too much. But still, some people think I'm a pretentious prick. Maybe in some ways. In some ways, I'm cocky as fuck. I'll admit this. Yes, everyone does want security regardless of your personal ideals. That is very true, Neo. And the thing is with MGTOW, the way that I look at MGTOW, what MGTOW actually means to me is you not being afraid to do what makes you happy. Following your dreams, following your aspirations, following your own path to happiness. And if you're one of those people that's sitting there living that minimalist life, maybe playing some video games, so on and so forth, working the bare minimum hours that you have to work to be able to go ahead and afford your hobbies and all that sort of thing, cool. If it's you sitting there and trying to be able to afford a fucking McMansion and a prostitute for every day of the fucking year, then go for it. You know? Don't you know, like I'm not going to judge anyone on that. And no one should. But the thing is at the same time, it's all like, don't be afraid to sit there and go, are you sure you want to do that, bro? Have you really assessed the situation? And then open up a dialogue. I don't have a problem with dialogue. As anyone who's watched my channel for any amount of time has seen, I'm not afraid of a dialogue. Why? Because the thing is an exchange of ideas is typically a good thing. Gives you an idea of what the other person's thinking, what the other person's feeling, what the other person's about. That's the reason why I hate it whenever people sit there, dog on me, and refuse to have a dialogue with me. Because the thing is if they were to have a dialogue with me, they'd realize that the shit that they were dogging on me about is more than likely not true. Just like with other MGTOWs, when they sit there and try to say I'm not a real MGTOW because I have a daughter or because I don't believe that all women are evil. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? MGTOW is supposed to be men being able to be open with each other, be able to be honest with each other, being able to see the world for what it truly is, being open to each other's ideas, seeking truth. Us trying to find our own way individually, but while also having other people there to talk to while we're going down that path. For me, MGTOW as a concept is only one thing, and one thing only. It's the same as a fucking social network. Just for people who aren't afraid to turn around and walk away from the bullshit that happens in society regarding men, women, social classes, all that shit. I mean, if someone wants to disagree with that, and you see, that's a valid view of MGTOW right there. You know, Neo says MGTOW is about freedom from female validation and freedom to be honest about what you want. Yes, that is your path on as far as MGTOW is concerned. I'm not going to get in the way of that. See, for me, MGTOW is me going ahead, spreading information, spreading my personal experiences, helping spread the experiences of others, spread awareness about certain issues that are going on so that way people can be prepared in life. Does that sound like a wrong way of doing MGTOW? Because the thing is if your answer to that is yes, that is wrong, try to make it so your mind isn't so narrow. Stop trying to limit other people's paths. To me, I view MGTOW basically as a radio between people taking different paths on a nature hike. You're outside of shouting distance, but you can still communicate. You can still give each other a heads up about an obstacle that you came across. Or if there's a dangerous predator on one of the paths, be all like, hey, if you go down this path, this thing's here, you might want to fucking watch out or else it'll eat your fucking face off. You know, that sort of shit, you know. For the video gamer viewers that watch, MGTOW is kind of like being part of a party, you know. You're not always going to fucking be together, but you are able to communicate with each other, give each other a heads up, you know. Or it's like a kind of a review board, you know, people giving a heads up, being all like, this isn't exactly what it's advertised to be, you know, that sort of shit. You know, it's just one of those things. It's just a group of semi like-minded individuals that may have differing opinions, even may have different end goals, but have a general idea of what they want and are looking to have knowledge spread amongst each other. It's not meant to be this restrictive thing. And that's where I think that some people are starting to drop the MGTOW label, because in some aspects, certain subgroups in, you know, certain MGTOW spheres are becoming very restrictive, becoming very dogmatic, becoming very stifling is the best word that I can think of for it. And the thing is a lot of people will sit there and look at that and go, well, then why do you still call yourself a MGTOW if you can admit that there's this problem in there? Well, I'm also a video gamer. There are some video gamers that are complete and total assholes. Does that mean that I should stop playing video games? Neo says, I listen to MGTOW content to remember why I'm doing what I am doing. We can slip up and forget the risks we were trying to avoid. Very, very, very true. And that's one of the reasons why I love seeing so many different MGTOW channels with so many different views, so many different stories. Because of the pure and simple fact that at that point, when you've got all of that, you're all like, all right, I'm not alone. This is actually a fucking thing. All right, fair enough. You know? And as Neo said, it can also serve as a reminder as to why you're doing what you're doing. I kind of covered this in my Bachelor video. It's all like, every once in a while, you're going to sit there and go, oh, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And then you watch a MGTOW video, you're like, oh, yeah, huh. Until you see the chick running down the street, you know, with her boobs just about bouncing out of her fucking top, running in those tight yoga pants, and you can see just about fucking everything. And you're just all like, why am I doing this again? And then you watch the MGTOW shit, and you're all like, oh, God, that is the prettiest trap I've ever seen. And, you know... Yeah, it is kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous. And you know what? That's actually a very poignant thing. Because the thing is Alcoholics Anonymous is for recovering addicts. You never stop being a recovering addict. Ask anyone who's actually done drugs and who's actually kicked the habit. They will almost always say, yes, I am a recovering addict. I will always be a recovering addict. You never stop being a recovering addict. The reason why? Because the thing is there's always that chance of you slipping back in. You know, maybe your life goes to hell in a handbasket. Maybe you lose your fucking job. Maybe your fucking spouse cheated on you. Maybe your kids fucking hate your guts. Maybe you ended up homeless. You know, whatever, whatnot. Maybe you're going through a midlife crisis. Doesn't matter. You always have a chance of slipping back into those old bad habits. You forget the lessons that you've learned. You forgot the reasons why you quit. And the thing is anyone who wants to bitch at me about equating relationships with women or interactions with women to drug abuse, don't blame me. I am not the one who did that. Take a look at society. Where do they send men who are victims of domestic abuse? They send them to fucking rehab centers. So even society is sitting there and saying that, yes, a man being in an abusive relationship is akin to being addicted to a life-threatening drug. That's not me saying that. That's society saying that. Don't shoot the fucking messenger. And it's kind of telling that even society, even subconsciously, fucking said that. Because that's what they're saying by those actions. BGS IBM OR, I cannot pronounce that, did a great video on the topic. Like Bartleby and Scribner said, I prefer not to. yeah, no, that, But, no, honestly, when people are sitting there and trying to shame men for going MGTOW, you know, and trying to shame men for having the label, it's becoming easier and easier for them because we've got those people that are coming in. Now, the thing is I know that some of them are plants. I guarantee it. You've got some of them that are trolls, some of them that are these white knight motherfuckers that are going in and typing this fucking shit, probably venting how they actually fucking feel. But they're sitting there going in to specifically make, you know, MGTOW communities look bad. But also at the same time, there are quite a few that are going to be legitimate there. I've met a couple of MGTOWs that have actually been woman haters that just sit there and said, you know what? Fuck women completely. Like, I've met MGTOWs that have honestly fucking said that women should not have the right to vote. They should not have the right to property. They should not have the right to choose who they marry. They should not have the right to choose this, that, or the other. They should have no agency whatsoever. To me, that seems wrong, because at that point, it's all like, at that point, you're really kind of fucking up. But that's my viewpoint. You know, they have their viewpoint. I have my viewpoint. Again, it's that agree to disagree thing. Fair enough. But, you know, also at the same time, I've met quite a few MGTOWs that share very similar views to me. You know, that are kind of that, you know, live and let live thing. Don't fuck with them unless they fuck with you, you know, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, no, TFM definitely has that kind of mentality, which I can't blame him, especially given his history with women. I really can't. But also at the same time, you know, I think it's a little bit too extreme. That's just my view, though. I'm not saying that he's necessarily wrong. I'm not saying that he's right. I'm not saying anything along those lines. I very rarely will talk smack about any other MGTOWs or MGTOW channels, because of the pure and simple fact that they're on their path, they're choosing their thing, but also at the same time, if they're constantly saying something, why would they get pissed off at me saying it? You know? I mean, I'm pretty sure TFM wouldn't have any issues with me sitting there and bringing that up, because the thing is he does. You know, he's very much so on the attack mode. You know, very often, but he's not always on attack mode. You know, but also, I mean, I still watch his content. I may not agree with all of his content, but also at the same time, he brings up a lot of really good points. Some of his points are not so great. Some of his points are very hyperbolic. But, you know, I mean, he's going off of his experiences, or off of recent stories or recent happenings, or off of other experiences that people have told him about. And I can't fault that. I really fucking can't. Like, the thing is, a lot of people ask why I have such a harsh view on women. And for me, it's more of a sense of fairness. You know, it's all like, women have all these advantages. You know, they have all these things that are afforded to them, all these special privileges, all these special considerations. And then they have the audacity to say that men have it better than them, when men don't have any of those fucking things going for them, when we have rules specifically fucking against us, when we are not afforded the same considerations as a woman in any way, shape, or form. To me, that is not fairness. That is not equality. That is not anything. That is not anything even resembling it. Yeah, it is a power imbalance. But the thing is, it's not just so much a power imbalance as much as it is a respect imbalance. It used to be, if a man, you know, got married and, you know, had a family and that sort of thing, you know, he had a lot of respect given to him. You know, people were much more likely to call him sir. You know, people viewed him more highly, so on and so forth. So at least, you know, him signing up for that fucking slavery had some benefit to it. Nowadays, you've got feminists sitting there and saying that if a man marries a woman and he's not doing all the housework and all the fucking money earning and all that sort of thing, and also taking care of the kids and basically letting the wife, you know, do whatever the fuck she wants, or whoever the fuck she wants, then, you know, he's a worthless piece of shit, and he, you know, he's a sexist, and he's a horrible husband. She should leave him, blah, 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 blah. She should destroy him. And then you got, you know, extreme MGTOW sitting there and calling the guy a simp. You got them sitting there and saying, oh, you're a fucking moron, you're a fucking idiot, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you, Neo, that there's power imbalance as far as women's favor, but I'm just saying as far as the way I view it, it's not so much a power situation. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that women don't have more power than men, especially socially and legally. Jesus Christ. I mean, hell, even economically. I mean, look at who's the majority fucking money spenders. If you're the money spender, then who has the fucking control of the money? Oh, there you go. But we are like Homer Simpson. Don't. But yeah, no, it's just one of those situations of it's the pendulum swinging too far in one direction. Because back in the day, women didn't have their agency and that sort of thing. All right, fair enough. In some cultures, in some early cultures, women had a lot of fucking power, a lot of clout, and so on and so forth. So, it's one of those things. It all depends on which culture you're looking at. But women have always had nature on their side. And Neo says, salespeople always sell to the wife or girlfriend. I can completely confirm that with my fucking experience. I actually was a top seller in fucking Best Buy for several years straight. And yes, I targeted the girlfriend and the wife. And you guys have seen me. I'm not the most attractive guy out there. I ain't got that fucking swag. But the thing is I knew who was really in charge of that fucking purse. And it really fucking sucked. Because the thing is trying to sell to the wife or the girlfriend when it's something for the guy, oh, damn. I'm going to tell you right now, that is a fucking uphill battle. And the guy's too afraid to fucking step up and stand next to you unless they're freshly fucking married and the guy doesn't fully understand the situation that he's in. I only had it happen a couple times, and I saw some fights. Yeah, I actually worked for Best Buy for 5 years. But the thing is yeah, it was absolutely fucking horrendous trying to do that. But whenever the woman was buying something for herself, then you knew fucking gravy train. That's what's fucking going on. When they were buying for their kids, you might have an uphill battle every once in a while, but the kids could go ahead and side with you, and you could weaponize the kids. But then when it came to buying something for the husband, unless it was for like an anniversary or something like that, it was exceedingly hard to get them to buy anything of any real quality. Like they would try to go for the lowest price, lowest quality, basically giving a giant middle finger to their husband, and it was really hard to try to talk them out of it. But the thing is I found a way past that, and this might piss off some fucking people. It might re-trigger your red pill rage. I guess that's as close to a fucking trigger warning as you're gonna get. But yeah. The way I got past it was, well, then you're going to be the one coming back in and going through the return process, and it's going to just waste your time. You're not going to have enough time to do what you want to do. It's going to really inconvenience you. I had to make her buying something for the husband about her to get her to spend anything fucking extra on the husband. Wrap your head around that. Fucking sucks. But anywho, enough for that rant. Yes, they would try to cheap with the husband's gifts. Neo, yes, that was a very common occurrence. Whereas the guys, they were sitting there going, balls out when they were buying something for their wife. But the thing is that same wife would come in a few months later, for like his birthday gift or Christmas gift or whatever, and fucking go cheap as fucking shit. It's all like, dude, this fucker just bought you the iPad that just released 2 days before. So you know that thing got price gouged like a motherfucker. He bought you the coverage plan. He bought you all this extra shit to go with it. He bought you the fucking setup so it was ready to go straight out the fucking box. He bought you the whole kit and caboodle. He fucking spent all this on you. And now here you're coming in. He wants a fucking laptop. And what are you fucking doing? You're buying him a $200 laptop that's fucking 4 years old. What the fuck is wrong with you? There was actually one time I was having a bad day and I straight called the woman out on it straight to her face. The look on her face was amazing. The write-up was worth it. The only reason why there was a write-up was because one of the managers was right there and heard me fucking go off on her. But she ended up actually buying him the laptop that he wanted with the coverage and all that shit. Which, here's the thing, it still came out to less than her fucking iPad. Oh, yeah. No, it pissed me the fuck off. And here's the thing, he was using the laptop for fucking work. So he was going to be using that laptop to fucking bring in more money for her to spend on her own selfish self. Yeah. So the thing is well before I was MGTOW, I saw female nature. I actually understood quite a bit about it, and I fucking learned to try to manipulate it. But the thing is, it was only in that one scenario that I could do it. Manipulating a woman's nature is very difficult to do in other scenarios. And the thing is you cannot perpetually do it. That's the problem, because once you get caught doing it, oh my God, the punishment that comes along with it. Oh shit. But it's perfectly fine for a woman to go ahead and manipulate our nature. Just remember that. But also, you know, I mean, there's guys out there that'll sit there and say, good, you know, she deserved to be manipulated. No one deserves to be manipulated. Let's be fucking honest. I mean, honestly, I was being kind of scumbaggy when I fucking manipulated my female customers' nature to make more money for a company that was not paying me as much as I should have made. Let's be fucking honest. But the thing is when you decide to go ahead and get involved with a woman, don't necessarily manipulate her nature, but know how to work around it. Know the pitfalls and all that. That's what I sit there and say on my channel all the fucking time. People don't fucking get that. They think that for some odd reason that is me sitting there and saying I fucking hate women and women are stupid and it's easy to fucking do. I never say it's fucking easy to do. I'm saying it's fucking hard as shit to do. I don't fucking hate women. I don't even necessarily hate their fucking nature. What I hate is the fact that our legal system funds the weaponization of female nature. That's what I fucking hate. I hate the fact that our courts are able to be weaponized and custom fit. I fucking hate that. Does not mean I hate women. But there are men out there that will sit there and say, yeah, women should not be able to do this, or this. Because they can't be trusted with it. That's their opinion. But like I've said before in other streams, you know, I've met some women that actually, you know how to get shit done. And know how to get it done in an honest and efficient manner. Did they tend to be tomboys? Yes, they did. But the thing is it's still it still makes me a little bit angry whenever I hear someone sit there, you know, claim to be MGTOW, and all you fucking hear from them is hatred of women. And they're not even bringing up, you know, the facts about female nature or anything like that. They don't even fucking acknowledge it. They just sit there and say fuck women, and they think that that makes them MGTOW. No, that doesn't. I mean, yeah, you've got trolls that do it. Like I've said before in the stream, you got trolls that do that shit. Trolls are going to troll. Let's just be honest, people. But then you've got some men that are actively doing that. And then you've also got the white knights who sit there and make their little sock puppet accounts. Those are pretty easy to fucking spot. They really are. They're really fucking easy to spot. Kind of hard to get them separated from the trolls, but usually you can figure it out. But the thing is, it's very easy to see the ones that legitimately hate women. And those are the ones that piss me off. It's all like, dude, that's not what MGTOW is about. MGTOW is about acknowledging female nature. It's about acknowledging male nature. It's about figuring out what makes you happy and encouraging you to fucking do what makes you happy. That doesn't sound like a bad thing to me, right? Okay. But the thing is a lot of people don't understand this. But there's also a lot of false information out about MGTOW. And so it draws all sorts. But the thing is when there is a legitimate woman hater that really doesn't care about female nature, that doesn't care about male nature, doesn't actually care about the legal system or anything like that, doesn't care about any of the facts, they're just wanting a place where they can sit there and vent that fucking hatred. MGTOW is not the fucking place for that. It isn't. Now, feel free to, you know, talk about a negative experience that you've had with women, by all means. And if you get a little fucking heated about it, that's understandable. But at the same fucking time, don't just come here, say, fuck women, women should be killed or whatever. Don't come here and fucking say that and then claim to be fucking MGTOW, because at that point you're not MGTOW. Rational MGTOWs don't sit there and say that women should be genocided. No. Anyone who claims to be MGTOW and says that sort of shit deserves to be hit across the bridge of the nose with a rolled up newspaper with an iron bar in the middle. Fuck it. Not in the across the bridge of the nose. They deserve to be hit in the nuts. Stop it. Bad. Because the thing is they give all MGTOWs a bad name. And they're not even actually fucking even trying to bring up the points that MGTOW bring up. They're just there to fucking hate. All they do is fucking legitimize the bullshit claims about MGTOW. And yeah, some of the same can be said for feminism, except for the fact that feminist organizations, feminist groups, actively fucking do that shit and get a lot of fucking public support, get a lot of fucking funding. Do you see that happening with MGTOW? No. Yeah, there are some fucking woman-hating style channels that claim to be MGTOW out there that get funding, but there are some men out there that legitimately hate women. Now, whether or not they're justified in that or not is for another fucking stream. But the thing is they're going to be the ones supporting that. Like, if I was to sit there and start up a fucking Patreon and actually get people to fucking put money in for me, I doubt that would happen. I mean, I'm A, not a big enough channel, and B, I don't think I'm that interesting. But if I was to do that, and then you were to sit there and look at the demographic that would be putting money into the Patreon for me, versus the demographic that would be putting in money for one of those female hating channels, you're going to notice a stark fucking difference. You're going to notice a massive difference in how these people view life, period. Because we're not coming from the fucking same place, whether it be ideologically, whether it be as far as education, whether it be as far as just arguing points. It would be a completely different area. So the thing is at that point, trying to sit there and lump all MGTOWs into one giant group, that's always been a fucking bad idea. It's always been a bad idea. I don't think there are any MGTOW that 100% agree with each other. I don't think that that ever fucking happens. Like, me and Dilgaff have our disagreements. Me and Turd Fleeting Monkey have our disagreements. Me and MGTOW 101 have our disagreements. It doesn't fucking matter. We can have our disagreements, but still have at least that same basic premise. Neo says MRAs get very little money support. I'm assuming you meant to type get and typed could. Yeah, no, MRAs get shit on, whether they're male or female. But the thing is I mean, that, I guess that just comes with the territory of being guilty of quote unquote wrong think. You know, you get defunded. But the thing is or should I say, you can't find the funds. But the thing is when when you decide to go ahead and vent your anger, make sure that it's known that you're just venting anger, that this is not your permanent mindset. And that's one thing that I definitely want to put out there. Like with me, when I start venting, I'll normally say, all right, I was just venting. Sorry about going off on the rant. Sorry about going off on the fucking ramble. You know, whatever. I'll sit there and say that. Reason why? Because I want people to know that that's not my normal mindset. So if that's the only part of my video that they see, they will know that that is not my normal mindset. That it might have been just a little clip that someone sent to them because they thought it was funny. I mean, we all have our little red pill rage moments well after we take the red pill. We all have that. Because every once in a while, you'll see that one fucking thing that just pisses you the fuck off. Whether it be something that you saw someone else go through, you've gone through, or just something that just really fucking gets under your skin as far as your personal beliefs. And that's fine. Now, how you handle it is a completely different story. Like, if you sit there and you start raging, you start saying, oh, fuck women, all women are like this, blah, 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 blah. At that point, a lot of people are going to stop listening to you. And at that point, you're kind of fucking making MGTOW look bad. Now, if I was to sit there and say all women require oxygen to live, that's a true statement, and I can paint with that broad brush. But that's about it. Neo says, most MGTOW do care very much about women. It is one of the reasons we complain. We want to fix things. Very fucking true, Neo. You get yourself a digital high five. Fucking A. Yes, exactly. Like with me, in a lot of my videos, I'll bring up, especially lately, now that I've really started calming down and mellowing out from my red pill rage. Maybe it's because I'm just overly tired lately. But I'll sit there and I'll bring up how shit hurts women. How this stuff that's supposedly benefiting them is actually fucking them up. Whether it be mentally, physically, all of the above, financially, doesn't matter. I'll sit there and I'll bring that up. I mean, hell, I also brought up recently, you know, how giving people special permissions based off of what they are, or special benefits or, you know, special privileges, considerations, all that sort of thing, giving them that actually harms them in the long run. Why? Because the thing is then they don't have to deal with the adversity that comes along with the situation of not having all those things. Therefore, they don't know how to deal with it when it does rear its ugly head. And so then eventually they're going to take that for granted, and then they're going to think, oh, well, I get no special privileges. I need these special privileges, even though they've got all the special privileges. Does that sound familiar? It should, because that's our current fucking situation in a lot of fucking ways, whether it be the fucking race baiting war, whether it be the fucking religious war, the sexual orientation war, the fucking male-female war that's going on. It doesn't fucking matter. It's happening in all of those things right now. Neo says the women are going to receive the far greater loss. Yes, it is, because the thing is, well, and I can't 100% say that. Like, let's be honest, I can't 100% say that, because the thing is men are also losing out on this too. Because the thing is a lot of guys also want some level of companionship, and, you know, yeah, hanging out with the buddies, whew, yeah, it's fucking awesome. 99.99999% of the time, that is enough. But every once in a while, you need something with 2 X chromosomes, nothing dangling between the legs, and something going on the chest. All right? Every once in a while, you need some companionship from the opposite gender. All right? Every once in a while, you fucking need that. Some people, maybe not. It's not a completely 100% thing, but also at the same time, you know, there are a lot of guys that are all like, you know, I kind of miss that. Fair enough. Because the thing is remember, it's part of our nature to want to be with women. It's kind of in our DNA, you know? I mean, hell, even if it's not a sexual thing, you know, it's there. But also at the same time, women are losing out, because the thing is not only did they lose their nice, comfy lifestyle, they got fucked over on that one. Let's all be honest. But then also at the same time, now they're actually having to deal with the repercussions of having those freedoms. So they're having to deal with that, and now they're bitching and complaining about all that shit, and they're like, no, I want to go back. But men are like, no, that genie ain't going back in the bottle. Fuck you. We're happier now than we've ever been. Our lifespans are actually going up. Fuck your shit. You know? And I mean, that's fair enough on guys' parts. I mean, honestly, who wants to live a shorter life? As I slowly raise my hand. But the thing is men have now gotten a small taste of that little bit of freedom that women have had for so fucking long. Of course men don't want to go back. Of course men are all like, yeah, I'm going to stay right here. In fact, you know what? I'm running in the exact opposite direction of your ass. Because I notice the farther away from you I get, the freer I am. So of course, men are going to turn and run for the fucking hills. They're going to vanish into the smoke in the woods and never be seen again. And yeah, women are losing out on that, because the thing is women also need men. Men can go ahead and brute force our way through it 99.99999% of the time. But the thing is feminism and the government and a lot of other social groups have basically reduced women to the point to where they're at. They got rid of the kind of chivalrous nature of men, where we sat there and viewed women, you know, on high, you know, up on that fucking pedestal, the golden fucking pussy, right? They took them down from that, saying, oh, you'll be much happier down here. But now men have started climbing up. They're going, huh, what the fuck's up there? And we're pissing on the woman's head, and she's going, what the fuck? Well, because we saw that that golden pussy wasn't gold, it was fool's gold. And so now we're all like, yeah, no, we're treating you like an equal now because we see that you actually didn't deserve that pedestal to begin with. And the thing is women have gotten so used to, throughout history, viewing men as a resource, as nothing but a utility, that they haven't gotten out of that yet. And then all of a sudden, they have an issue when men start treating them the same way that they have been treating men for all these fucking years. No. And now not all women are that way. Some women fucking understand it. Fair enough. But here we go. Equality is a fucking bitch. Period. Because the thing is everyone wants to have that special fucking treatment. Everyone wants to feel special. Gives you that tingly feel good. Well, guess what? Either we're all fucking special, and special is the norm, therefore we are all normal, or we're all normal, and so we just skipped the whole roundabout bullshit. One of the two. Neo says, women's reputation has been greatly damaged. I kind of like freedom and extra things for myself. Selfishness can be a virtue. I'm finding that there are a lot of things I like. Massage parlors are nice. Oh, Neo, you're awesome. But yeah, no, it's one of those things. And you see Neo right there. Now, I'm assuming we're both thinking about the same type of massage parlor. Yeah, yep, we're thinking of the same massage parlor. Okay, I have my confirmation. But yeah, you see right there. There's that. You know, other percentage. You know, the non 99.99999%. You know, you know, there's that small percentage right there. You're getting what you need from a woman every once in a while, right? And the thing is, you know, some people are all like, why would you pay someone to do that? Oh, why would you not? It feels good, right? I mean, if you go in and you pay for a regular massage and that feels good, how is it any different than that type of massage? Just saying. And some people are like, well, it's illegal. And it's not illegal everywhere. Just saying. So if you're going to sit there and you're going to say, well, guess what? It's illegal. Well, then just go somewhere where it's legal. Done. Next. And the question is, I want to ask this. Maybe someone will know, whether you're listening after the fact. Go ahead and leave a comment down in the fucking comments, or maybe someone in live chat. I guess that's basically Neo, since he's the only one typing in chat right now. Neo says sex is becoming commodified. All right, I'm about to touch on that. No, in Las Vegas, it is legal. Yeah, but there's a lot that's legal in Las Vegas, dude. I kind of want to go back to Las Vegas now that I'm in MGTOW. I think I would have a lot more fun than when I went as a fucking blue pill simp motherfucker. But yeah, I want to know, why is it prostitution is illegal? Who pushed for prostitution to be illegal? Now, I know that people are going to sit there and say, oh, it was the church that pushed for prostitution to be illegal. Yeah, this is true. But why? Is it because of some moral reason? Or is it because prostitution threatened the whole marriage thing, you know, that whole marriage racket? Yeah, I heard about that, Neo. I heard about weed being legal in Las Vegas. Yeah, that's even more incentive for me to go to Las Vegas and maybe never come back. I wouldn't mind living in Las Vegas. I wouldn't, except for the street crime and the crowded streets and the dumbasses and everything else. Yeah, good place for me to visit. I wouldn't want to live there. Maybe near there. Maybe near it, like way outside of town, like out in the middle of nowhere. You know, live there for a while. You know, just every once in a while, come in, you know, and fucking get my rocks off, and then disappear. You know, fuck back off again. And weed is technically legal here in California too. Neo's running through the new legal weed states. I understand you being happy about that, man. I really do. I think weed should be legal everywhere. They should just legalize it federally. You know? I mean, hell, they got fucking cigarettes is legal, and then they got fucking alcohol is legal. I mean, fuck, you know, if they're gonna sit there and they need something to be illegal, how about this? Make cigarettes illegal and make weed legal. There you go. Boom. It'll counter out. Because then the cigarette smokers will just go over to weed, where they'll still be all happy, and we're all good. And I'm saying this as a cigarette smoker. If I had to choose between being able to legally and openly smoke weed, or being able to legally and openly smoke cigarettes, I guarantee you, weed's the way to go. Because I have smoked weed before. I know the effects of weed. I know the effects of cigarettes. I am very familiar with both. And I am saying right here, I really, really, really would prefer weed. I like, honestly, if in my area they said, yeah, weed is completely fucking legal, go for it. You can sell it, you can buy it, you can smoke it, you can eat it, you can shove it up your ass if you want. Go nuts, people. If they fucking said that, I would quit cigarettes the moment that came out of their fucking mouths. But right now, there's a question of, oh, well, is it legal in this part of California? Is it legal in this part of California? Motherfuckers, you legalized it in California. Fucking leave it alone. Give us at least this one fucking thing. Let us have our fucking legal weed. You're fucking up every other fucking law. At least you got this one right. Stop fucking with it. Leave it alone. Just blanket, it's legal. The people of California wanted it legal. Let it be legal. Don't sit there and say, oh, well, this province can say it's illegal. This province can say it's illegal. Fuck! Southwest Utah will blow up land values soon. Why is that, Mascule? Did they legalize that shit in Utah? I haven't really been paying too much attention to the whole weed thing lately because I've been very excited about it in California. I've been waiting for them to go ahead and get that decision finalized because I guarantee you if the city that I live in sits there and says, yeah, no, weed's not legal here, yeah, we're going to have a little mini revolution here, and we're going to have some dead politicians. Because a lot of people up here in Northern California are very, very happy about weed being legal, even more so than in Southern California. In fact, Southern California, there's a lot of people that are really pissed off about weed becoming legalized because it's pissing off the cartels, and now the cartels are trying to get revenge. Nope, but it's a hotbed nonetheless. Oh, so it's just like Northern California. Yeah, but here's the thing, Neil. Like here in California, yeah, the jobs still drug test. But here's the thing. The jobs that are California-based and not federal-based actually use a different weed test, which is actually much, much, much less sensitive. So the thing is it's a little bit more accurate as to how far out you've smoked. So like if you smoke a massive fucking blunt right before going in, yeah, you're gonna fucking pop. But the thing is if you smoke like a bowl in the morning and then you take your piss test at like 3 o'clock in the evening, it won't fucking show up. Yes, local Rev grassroots real estate agents have awesome plants. Yeah, but like I was saying, you know, I know you posted your thing before I was done with my little rant, but yeah, that's kind of how it's going on here in California. Self-employed, smoke every day, closest thing to a wife this MGTOW has. True about the piss test. I'm all or nothing kind of guy. I was smoke. You used to smoke a lot of pot. Yeah, like when I was younger, I smoked a massive fuck ton of weed. Um, like when I think I started smoking weed when I was 17. I know that's kind of a late starter. But the thing is, I smoked weed from the age of 17 to the age of like 24, 25-ish, somewhere around in there. And I smoked heavy. I mean, it was bad. Like, y'all bitch about me smoking as many cigarettes as I smoke. Yeah, I smoked just as many joints pretty much daily. I mean, because where I live, it's all fucking over the place. You know. Well, the thing is when I was 15, mascule, I was actually on a football team, and so I didn't want to fuck that up. But then I ended up getting an ankle injury, and then the coach ended up being a little fucking prick, and it all went to Tom Buggery. Yeah, no, I definitely suggest. I suggest that. Like, if it's legal where you are, definitely, and you're gonna choose between smoking weed and smoking cigarettes, definitely go with weed because weed is a lot easier to fucking quit. For one, and two, it's less damaging to you, and three, it's a lot more fun. And four, the thing is eventually you can master that fucking weed high to be able to pull off some next level shit. Like what with my second job, my bosses actually this was when it was still illegal in California because this was a long time ago. But where I was working, it was at a video rental store. I'm not going to say which one, but I was working there, and my bosses noticed that whenever I came in high as a kite, I ended up selling a whole bunch of combo deals because me talking about the combo deals and being so about the fucking combo deal because I was fucking hungry as hell and I had the munchies from the lowest bowels of hell, they would end up wanting the fucking deals and they would go ahead and get them. And so a couple of my managers actually started bringing some fucking weed when they knew they were going to be working with me, and they would have me go out before my shift started, smoke a couple bowls. So I'd come in fucking high as a kite. When I went out on my break, they'd give me a fucking bowl. When I went on my lunch, they'd give me a fucking blunt, and so on and so forth. It was amazing. Best job ever. They never charged me for the fucking weed, and they were all like, oh my God, our numbers are so fucking high. I absolutely loved it. It does slow reaction time at first, but the thing is they've actually done studies. Like after you've smoked weed for long enough, you can actually go ahead and get yourself to where that isn't so prominent. Like it still slows your reaction time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those people that says, "Oh, you can completely negate the reaction time slowdown." No. You do still react slowly, but at the same time, you can kind of deaden that and also get yourself to be able to multitask a little bit better. Yeah, no, factory work is extremely dangerous if you're high on weed. I will fully fucking agree with that, dude. But the thing is me, I've never worked in an actual factory, so because there's not too many factories around where I live. I guess the closest thing would be a couple of city jumps away, and that would be the Walmart distribution center that's near here. But no. Yeah, no, I've actually never gotten into a car. There was only one time that I drove high, and it was the worst experience ever. I actually drove crossfaded. I was high and I was drunk and I was a teenager. So a whole lot of bad all at once, and I caught myself going 15 miles an hour down a fucking 45. So yeah, never again. Because I honestly thought I was going the speed limit until I looked down at the speedometer and it said 15 miles an hour. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to go faster than this. Oh shit. I pulled the car over and I was all like, yep, I'm calling my folks. So I didn't get into a wreck or anything like that. But the thing is I refuse to go any faster than 50 miles an hour. So that's a problem. Yeah, if you're sitting there doing something like that, Neo, yeah, you don't be high. No, 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 no. Yeah, no, like, well, the thing is, it's not like I was driving recklessly or anything like that. I was concentrated on staying between the fucking lines. I was concentrated on not hitting anything, all that sort of shit, and it was just me being like way overly cautious. So the thing is I'm all like, okay, at least I wasn't fucking speeding, right? But no, the thing is like as far as weed is concerned, like it's one of those things. Honestly, I really do think it should be legal, but also at the same time, it should be treated very much so like alcohol. I mean, if you're caught, driving high, yeah, you're driving under the influence. So yeah, get smacked around a bit. But at the same time, it's all like, why is it like if I have the weekend off and I'm not fucking going anywhere? And I want to get high off my fucking ass. Why in the fuck is it okay for me to get drunk off my ass and fucking kill my liver, but not for me to get high as a fucking kite and enjoy myself for much longer while putting much less chemicals into my body and causing less overall damage? Yeah, no, like painting, painting a house or something while high on weed. I can see that ending poorly for the house, but also at the same time, if you're one of those people that being high on weed, makes you pay extreme attention to detail, it could end exceedingly well for the house. It could be the best paint job the person's ever fucking seen. But well, you see, the thing is as far as working goes, like if you're sitting there and you're self-employed, or if your job is sitting there and typing numbers into a fucking register, then okay. If you're sitting there operating heavy machinery, or there's even an opportunity for you to operate heavy machinery, or if you're pushing medications like being a fucking nurse or something like that, or if you're a surgeon, something where lives are in danger, then of course, no being high on the job, then bad monkey, sit down. But the thing is if you're at home, well, what the fuck's the problem? That's how I look at it. But the thing is they won't sit there and make it dependent on the job. They won't do that. And the thing is the only reason why weed is still federally illegal is because the FDA still has weed classified in the same fucking category as a bunch of other insanely fucking horrible drugs. It is a potent medicine and respected as such, but I don't go off of that fucking argument because I'm arguing for recreational use. I am not arguing for medicinal use. That's the thing. Yeah, typing on the iPhone is limiting. I understand you. But yeah, no, I argue for recreational use because I'm not looking to use this shit medicinally. Could I sit there and argue that I need it for medicinal use? Yeah, I have insomnia. You know, it treats insomnia. I could go ahead and do that. I have chronic pain in my ankle from my injury from football. I could sit there and say that I'm using it for that, but I don't. Because the thing is I want to get high as a fucking kite. I don't want medical marijuana. I want medical marijuana that sends me on a fucking spirit journey, damn it. I want to get high. I don't care about the medicinal at this point. What I'm caring about is the fun. So I'm at least being honest on that. Now, the people that are arguing for it for medicinal, that are actually looking at it as a medicinal thing, all right, fine, no problem. But nothing irritates me more than people who argue that are the people that argue, you know, oh well, it's a good medicine, and they got no fucking provable ailment for it. So I fuck you. No, you want it for recreational purpose. Go over to the recreational camp and sit there. We're all part of one giant camp, but at least organize yourself appropriately so that way we don't seem like disingenuous fucks. Maskell says, agreed 100%, but it must be culturally regulated as such, not politically. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you. My sentiment exactly. But also at the same time, if it's culturally regulated, then you're going to have these fucking health nuts sitting there and going, well, you're putting foreign chemicals into your body, so that shouldn't be fucking allowed. And so we're going to sit there and say no. And if you live in an area where there's a whole bunch of those little fucking self-righteous preaching little fucks, then guess what? You're going to have yourself a bad day. Neo says it's fun to be a little tipsy. Yeah, it is. It is fun to be a little tipsy. It's also fun to be a lot tipsy. What's not fun is blacking out, ending up across the fucking city, and then all of a sudden, you know, and then you're all like, well, where are my pants when you come to? And where's my wallet? And do I really have to make the walk of shame without having the whole knowledge of what the fuck my pants are missing for? Alcohol is not always fine. My body does not like alcohol. Not all that much. Like when I drink to get drunk, and I'm very efficient at getting drunk. But the thing is I don't enjoy drinking alcohol. I enjoy sitting back and having the social environment of smoking a blunt with my friends. Whereas with drinking, that fun, that social fun is broken up with the, oh God, I have to drink more of this shit to go ahead and get the buzz that I want. Not for me. Now, don't get me wrong. I ain't saying alcohol should be illegal. I ain't saying that. No. We've seen what happens with prohibition. No. Bad. Although they couldn't use the whole alcohol that touches these lips won't touch ours anymore. It is. Thank you very much, Neo. It is. Alcohol is a foreign substance, just like weed. I don't get the issue why, other than the fact, like, I know that for a while there was this whole thing about textile industries feeling threatened and that sort of thing. But I mean, let's be honest here. Have you ever worn clothing made out of hemp? It is not comfortable. But this is also coming from a fucking hairy man. I am Italian, and so I have hair all over the place. All I have to do is take off my shirt, and I can go as a fucking werewolf for Halloween. But the thing is, I mean, hell, if I sit there and kind of shave my chest and go ahead and go blackface and decide to completely lose all sense of self-preservation, I could go as Harambe, I'm hairy enough. But the thing is, I got an issue with people sitting there and saying, "Oh, it's all because of the textile industry." No, 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 no. This was the part of the same motherfuckers that wanted prohibition. It's a bunch of fucking moral busybodies that want to fuck everyone else's fun up because for some odd reason they think it goes against some religious or some fucking moral code that they have decided to unilaterally impose on people. That is my fucking view on it. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, like we've covered, you know, driving while high or working heavy machinery while high, endangering other people, all that sort of thing. Yeah, that's fucking wrong. All right, I can understand that. But when you go ahead and you go off on people for smoking in their own fucking home and just enjoying themselves, well, then at that point, yeah, you can go fuck yourself. Because, you know what? I'm sick and tired of people telling me what I can and cannot do with my own body. Didn't the feminists say my body, my choice? Well, why can't I put any chemical that I want into my fucking body? Just saying. Just saying. Oh, dude, cannabis, like, if it was fully federal legalized, dude, big pharma and big alcohol companies and tobacco companies would be in a world of fucking hurt. Because cannabis has the widest range of fucking effects possible. And the thing is like they did in the study, I don't know if anyone on here watches fucking Game Theory. Go ahead. If you don't watch Game Theory, look up Game Theory and look up Solid Snake or Big Boss or whatever is a pothead. Go ahead and look that up. Son of a bitch. I do have a penis, so suck it. Oh, sorry, that's my automatic fucking response to that, Mascule. Like, Mascule said, you have a penis, slave. My automatic response is, yeah, I have a penis, so suck it. There you go. But, the thing is it's, one of those, scenarios of people need to realize that weed not being federally legal is strictly fucking political. It has nothing to do with the medical aspects. It has nothing to do with the moral aspects. It has to do with fucking money. Let's just fucking be honest about this. This is a channel where you can go ahead, you can be honest, let your hair down. Let's just choose this moment to be honest about this. The reason why weed is illegal at all is because of fucking money. It was replying to what you said. The feminist said, yeah, I know. But the thing is I've actually made this argument to a feminist, and she jokingly actually said pretty much what you said, except without the slave. She said, it's because you have a penis, so you're not important. You know, she jokingly said it. Because the thing is, me and her actually have some good rapport with each other. But the thing is she literally said, it's because you have a penis, so you're not important. And I'm all like, well, this affects women too. But yeah, you're right. I have a penis, so why aren't you sucking it? I mean, isn't that part of the patriarchy? Doesn't the patriarchy say that you have to suck my penis at any given moment? Oh yeah, no, that was a laughing fit from both of us because neither one of us knew whether or not that was going to turn into a fight. But yeah, No, seriously, it's one of those situations now. Yeah, it is profitable to criminalize people, except for now that they're running out of fucking places to put criminals. And so that's a problem in and of itself. And now they're sitting there and they're releasing some of the worst criminals to go ahead and make room for the more profitable criminals. Mascule says we put some words in their mouth, but it's the attitudinal tone they convey. Yeah, 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 very much so. But the thing is the feminist I'm talking about. She's one of those ones where she doesn't necessarily believe that women are being completely oppressed, but she thinks that there are some ways that women can be treated better, which I gotta agree with her on. I mean, that fair enough, but a lot of stuff that she talks about, it just comes down more to human rights issues. Like, even men don't fucking have that shit going for them. And she sits there and tries to argue that men do, and I'm all like, give me one example. And she can't. And so then she shuts up. So she's at least one of those feminists that knows when she's fucking beat. So, I mean, I gotta give her props on that one. But when people decide arbitrarily that something is illegal, it fucking irritates the shit out of me. Now, also, there are some people that are sitting there and trying to make the argument that it's unconstitutional for them to have weed be illegal because it's going against the pursuit of happiness. And I think that that's a pretty good argument, because weed sure as fuck makes me happy. And so they are impeding my pursuit of happiness. I mean, on a technical level, it is a correct argument. On a technical level. And I love technical levels. It is fucking fantastic. Because it pisses people off. Because then they have to go through and point out why it's technical. And so I'm wasting their fucking time because they're wasting my fucking time. And I love it. But the thing is, like, in all honesty, I don't understand why weed is illegal, alcohol is legal. I've never heard of anyone overdosing on weed. Yet at the same fucking time, I've heard of many, many people. In fact, I've known a few people who have succumbed to alcohol poisoning. The people who die on weed, they die doing something stupid, or they die because they fell asleep in the wrong place, or they die because they ate themselves to death, or because they drank themselves to death. It's one of the fucking two, or three, or four, or five. It depends on how many different things you want to list, because we can go ahead and go through an entire 1,000 ways to die as far as ways to die while on weed. But almost none of them have anything directly to do with weed. It's just weed happened to be involved. It happened to be in the person's system in some level. Yeah, the alcohol lobby does have more money. Why is that? Because there is at least an alcohol lobby. There is not a weed lobby. There is a bunch of fucking stoners that are sitting there and going, we ain't fucking hurting anyone. Why are you fucking with us? It's funny because the thing is those potheads make more fucking logical sense than these scientists that sit there and argue in favor of weed being illegal because they got paid by the alcohol industry. or big pharma. See, that's the thing. And that's one of the reasons why I'm saying the FDA needs to be scaled way the fuck back. I've been saying that for fucking years. I've always hated the FDA. The reason why? Because the fact of the matter is all they do is they provide one more fucking hurdle for helpful drugs to get to people. That's all it fucking is. Until recently, they didn't have a fucking way of fast-laning shit that would help people now. They didn't have anything like that until very recently. But here's the thing. They still have weed as I think it's a class 5, which is the same as illegal narcotics that have no medicinal use. They still have it classified as no medicinal use, even though study after study after study has at least proven that it does have medicinal use. Yet they fucking sit there and say, "Oh no, our results are inconclusive." It's all like, what? It's all like, how about you go ahead and test more than a fucking 100 people in your test when the tests that came before were testing thousands of people? How about you don't sit there and test 100 people who have a fucking hangnail? How about you fucking test people with actual chronic illnesses? Big tobacco used to push the government around. I agree, but the thing is right now it's actually alcohol and big pharma that's pushing government around. Let's be completely honest. Tobacco's kind of on its back leg. But the thing is honestly, I think it's bullshit that they're able to put extra taxes on stuff that they deem to be undesirable. Something's telling me that there's actually something illegal about that. You know, so like, just I really don't foresee the forefathers having thought that it would be okay to heavily tax an individual thing just because a few people didn't like it. I'm pretty sure that would be something that the forefathers would say, yeah, fuck that noise. I'm fairly fucking certain, but, you know, that's just because of my knowledge of fucking history. They got pissed off at the English taxing the living shit out of tea. And yet here we are, taxing a motherfucking leaf again. If those jobs were to go away, the politicians would be blamed for their legalization. Yeah, no, like, you see, the thing is it's gonna be really fucking stupid once like pretty much all of the fucking states have weed as legal, and then the federal government sitting there and saying, no, it's still illegal because we said so. It's gonna be stupid as fuck. And I know that that's gonna fucking happen. I'm calling it right now. The federal government is not going to legalize weed without people fucking having a full-fledged fucking revolt about it. Yeah, pretty much. Maskell says, robbing Peter to pay Paul to the tune of trillions. Yeah, no, seriously, like, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I know now we're off on fucking on weed, and we're not on the about MGTOW and the issues inside of it and that sort of thing. But you know what? Fuck it. I pretty much said my piece on that. So anyone who's watching now. This is probably going to be more about weed and video games from this point on. So if you want to tune out now, feel free. Neo says tax revolt. Mascule says, I hope so. I fuel it, bro. I don't know if you're saying feel it or fuel it or actually fuel it. Either way, it fits. But yeah, no, seriously, it's like I want to know what the U.S. government would do if everyone just all at the same time decided to stop paying their taxes. I mean, are they going to literally arrest every single person in the U.S.? Are they going to fucking try that? Have a good one. Mascule says, feel it. Okay, so it wasn't a typo. Got it. But yeah, like honestly, I would love to see what would happen if people were to just take all their money out of the bank and all that sort of shit and not pay their fucking taxes. I mean, is the government going to just sit there and basically steal everyone's paycheck wholesale at that point? Or are they going to sit there and actually take it as the fucking warning that it is? Because, I mean, no one's going to go to work if they know that their money is just going to fucking go to the fucking government. No one would fucking go to work. They'd be like, well, why am I fucking employed if this is the case? You know, why would I be employed if the government's literally taking my entire paycheck and I'm going to lose my house and my car and everything else? Yeah, I really would love to see what would happen there. How would the government deal with that? Would the government then stop and listen to the people? Or would they sit there and try to do some fucking authoritarian bullshit? But that's just my little thought experiment right there. You know, it's all like honestly, what would the government do? I mean, it's not like it could sit there and arrest every single person and put them in prison. I mean, our prisons are already full to the point of bursting. So, I mean, what? You put everyone on house arrest? Who's going to enforce it? You know, it's all like, okay, so you got the fucking police. But the thing is, if no one else is paying their bills, the police would probably sit there and go, yeah, no, we're not going to go ahead and pay our taxes either. And like I said, you know, if the government sits there and takes everybody's fucking money just outright, no one's going to fucking go to work. So the entire country will grind to a fucking halt. I could see a whole bunch of looting, but that's about it. Oh, yeah, no, the government would definitely threaten people, and it would make an example out of a few high-profile people, like some celebrities or something like that. But then everyone would sit there and go, yeah, and then and then at that point the government would be all like, oh shit. See, that's the thing. I honestly think that this whole fucking issue that we have with all this division and everything, honestly, I really do think that the government really fucking enjoys it because it just secures their power. It's just securing more power for the government. And I'm not one of those people that's completely anti-government, so no one take it that way. But also at the same time, I think that the government has way overstepped what it was meant to do. Yeah, people would use other currencies, but our government is more than happy to take other currencies. It's just this would be something new to them because they'd be taking other currencies and not having a debt associated with it. I mean, hell, everyone could go to a fucking barter system, you know? It's all like literally trading goods for goods or services for goods. You know, I mean, that would fuck with the government hardcore. Oh my God, the government would be all like, we can't tax goods because no money is being exchanged. Therefore, we have no idea which goods are being exchanged. Oh shit. But the problem would be at that point, then all of a sudden the whole oil thing would be an issue. Unless we started using our own oil, which we would have to hijack ourselves. And you know the government would send its troops to fucking guard those oil posts. You know that would fucking happen. So, I mean, moving shit around would be a lot more difficult, but then I guess you could go ahead and go with horses and all that. Which would fucking suck, because then it would take forever to get anything. I know that they'd probably try to shut down electricity, but there's more than enough preppers out there that have generators and shit that people would be able to survive for a while off of it. And you see, that's the thing. It's all like, when I sit there and I look at all the division that we have and the actual inaction of the government, I'm all like, yeah, you motherfuckers are either behind this or you're at the very least just sitting back and grinning. Because you know that you're the only ones that win from this. Yeah, except for the fact that, I forget which country it is. There's actually a country that's trying to tax Bitcoin. I don't know if that... Oh, it was actually here in the U.S., actually. Yeah, the Senate tried to pass something where Bitcoin would be taxed or something like that. Or they would consider it money laundering or something along those lines. And I'm all like, dude, you motherfuckers, you really think that that's going to fucking work? Good luck with that. Because the thing is, no one's going to declare their Bitcoin. They're going to sit there, they're going to ask, do you have any Bitcoins? No, let us see your computer, not without a warrant. Conversation over. And then they can just go ahead and transfer their Bitcoins to some other fucking device that they keep hidden. Yeah, drugs, alcohol, and pussy. Pussy would be currency as well. Hey, it would be the best chance for women to fucking actually get ahead in life, because at that point they'd have one hell of a bit of currency, wouldn't they? At that point, it's all like, how willing are they to part with the currency? Unfortunately, there would be some very cigarettes have also been used to pay convicts. I mean, let's be honest, Neo. Cigarettes have always been a fucking currency. But, I mean, so has pussy. Pussy's always been a currency. It's just its value has gone way the fuck down lately. But here's the thing with the government getting choked out like that, which it wouldn't be long until the government fucking completely collapsed. I mean, honestly, it would take less than a year for any government to collapse if everyone in the country decided not to pay taxes. Like it doesn't matter which government you're in. If everyone at the same time decided to stop paying taxes, it doesn't matter what government you're in, they would be hurting. Oh, Jesus Christ, they would be hurting. But I mean, the U.S. would be hit especially hard with that, since they're already deficit spending, and it would just jump that clock counter straight to the death counter clock straight to the fucking end. I mean, yeah. The U.S. would get hit hard with it. I think like the only countries that wouldn't really hit too incredibly hard in the grand scheme of things would be maybe some of the EU countries, but that's because they just force other countries that aren't doing that to fucking pay in until they can get their little minions back in line. But also, at the same time, that's going to put a lot of strain on the people of those other countries, and then they're going to stop paying taxes, and so it's just kind of a self-propagating issue. But yeah, honestly, I think that's the only way to really get anything really big changed would be for men to just say, you know what, fuck the system completely. And so I don't really foresee that to happening anytime soon. Uh, and the reason why I say men is because the thing is if men were to completely leave the workforce, I mean, honestly, what do you think would happen if every man was to just finally, just one day on the same day, just decide, you know what, fuck this noise, and just not show up to work or not, or just call in not interested, whatever. What the fuck do you think would happen? That would be a living nightmare for every fucking business, for the government itself. I mean, hell, there wouldn't really be a government at that point. There would be like 5 people in each government building, and they'd be all like, oh shit. I mean, that would be a living fucking nightmare for any government. The financial, the social, the economic, everything, it's just damn. The Chinese and Japanese government would do that, except for one big fucking issue. The Japanese police at that point would be like, yeah, we're not using weapons to extort people. No. The Chinese police, they'd happily do it. They'd be like, oh, yeah, I will do this. Yeah, no, no. But that's just because of the difference in the culture. With the Japanese, their police actually tend to side with the civilians. Say what you will about the Japanese, but that's one thing that they got down. Their police are actually pretty fucking decent. And I'm not saying anything bad about the Japanese. I absolutely love Japanese culture. But the thing is when you're talking about China versus Japan, those are two very different cultures with very different views on human rights, with very different views on how individuals should be treated. Oh my God. The difference is night and day. It's kind of like the difference between Japan and fucking Korea. Very, very, very different cultures. And that's one of the reasons why they don't get along. But Chinese will insist on recovering their money from America. Yeah. Yeah, let's see how well that works out for them. Now, here's the thing. If the US government was to fall, let's just ask this question. If the US government was to fall, how in the fuck is China going to collect on their debt? I mean, are they going to seriously try to come in with a bunch of armed people in turmoil and try to take over land? I mean, do you really think that China would be that stupid? I don't think so. I think they'd let us fight it out for a while, let the infighting die down a little bit, let us kill off most of our own people, and then fucking come in afterward. I think that's how they would fucking do it. But also at the same time, by that point, we'd probably have another at least 2 or 3 governmental systems in there, and it would be all like, all right, let's all put aside our differences and fuck up this invading enemy. But in all honesty, like, people are all like, oh, well, we can still change the government. No, we can't. The corruption's run way too fucking deep. Just like people are saying we can save our society. No, we can't. Our social structure is so corrupt, twisted, and just overall fucked up. Honestly, at this point, it's better to replace it than to fucking fix it. Like, either we let it run its course. China does make a lot of our stuff, but the thing is a lot of that stuff we could actually make here. It's just we'd have to reopen up the factories. And I'm not saying that hyperbolically. I mean, literally, all we would have to do is reopen up the factories. There's still a lot of factories that were shut down because jobs moved to fucking China, because they have it legal there to pay your employees jack shit, fuck all, nothing, pretty much for their labor and to slave drive them. Yeah, they have a large navy, but the thing is at that point, do you really think that no other countries would come rushing toward the U.S.? There's going to be a lot of infighting there. I mean, at that point, our waters are going to become fucking giant oil slicks. But the thing is, I mean, there would be a lot of infighting. We would all get caught in the fucking middle. But the thing is at that point, not to mention, then you would have some, humanitarian ones, coming in and trying to say, actually, not all of them. In fact, there's quite a few empty factories that are just sitting there. Believe it or not, it's kind of weird. It's almost like they sat there and said, yeah, this is going to be a temporary thing. But don't get me wrong, a lot of them were, but the thing is we have enough factories that we could either reopen, like the ones that weren't demolished and weren't completely dismantled, or we could go ahead and repurpose a couple of the redundant factories to go ahead and produce those basic necessities. A lot of people would have to come together really quick, though. I mean, that's the big kicker, because the thing is we would have a lot of infighting. That's the reason why I'm saying we would have multiple governments in that scenario. Because the thing is I mean, you'd have the basically Black Lives Matter, the feminists, all that. You'd have all them. Oh yeah, steel mills got completely fucking wrecked on that. But you don't necessarily need steel. Steel is one of those things. Yeah, it's a great construction material, but at that point, construction is going to be the least of our worries. I'm talking about necessities, dude. But I mean, you would have the Black Lives Matter, you would have the social justice bullshit, you would have at least those, 20 different governments right there. But then also at the same time, you'd have the like old school Republicans. You'd have like a small MGTOW subsection where people would be all like, "Yeah, we're not going to go there because that's death." Um, Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that all the piping's still going to be there, but here's the thing, dude. You can go ahead and remake piping relatively quickly. You can also replace piping relatively quickly to at least jimmy rig shit. A lot of people are sitting there and taking. See, this is part of what I was talking about before, where people get spoiled. Um, the thing is we didn't always have these nice primp and preen factories and shit. Factories used to be pretty fucking shitty places. You know what? When necessity strikes, you're not going to be exactly caring about how everything looks. You're going to be caring about, does it work for right now? Because have no doubt in your mind, if that sort of shit was to pop off, we'd have a giant civil war. People would be dead in the streets. I mean, it would be absolute fucking mayhem. I'm talking about the aftermath. I'm talking about when, the people that are going to be killed have been killed, and where people are all like, yeah, let's stop shooting each other. I think we've had enough now. On both sides. Because there will always be that point reached. And the thing is with as soft as Americans are nowadays, saying this as an American, but with as soft as Americans are nowadays, that point's going to get reached right quick and in a hurry. But yeah, it's just one of those situations of, like getting everything as far as necessities set up, as well as setting up the ground rules and everything like that for whatever society rises up from it. What are the odds of that happening? Not very fucking likely, because that would require a lot of people getting together and doing something all at the same fucking time. And with as divided as we are, it's just not gonna fucking happen. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to end the stream. The stream's been going on for about 3 hours. We got like way, way, way off topic here. But yeah, Neo, honestly, getting invaded from the south would actually be the bigger fucking risk. Reason why is because at that point, then you got like the cartels and all that. And I'm more scared of the cartels and Mexican government and their criminal fucking organizations than the Chinese military coming over. Because, I mean, once you get away from the fucking water, they're much less effective. But anywho, I'll go ahead. I'll end on that. Have yourselves a good day. To those who came to the stream, thank you very much for coming to the stream, listening to me ramble on. I'll go ahead and try to get out some more regular videos instead of just live streams, because I know that some people like the more bite-sized videos instead of the multiple hour-long live streams. So have yourselves a great day. I'll talk to y'all later.